What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Francisco. This is Stream Gear Talk, and today we're going to have a little bit of fun. All right, so a friend of mine gave me an idea. He said, hey man, did you ever consider asking ChatGPT to do a mic EQ for you? I'm like, no, never, ever occurred to me until you literally just said that now. So that's what we're going to be doing today, because as you can see, I'm using the Elgato Wave DX. I have all the plugins, everything turned off. This is what the mic sounds like out of the box in my room, in my environment, etc. And let's just see what happens. Okay. So in ChatGPT, I'm going to go ahead and type in my prompt, and I'm kind of winging this as we go. There's no script or anything, so let's just see how we go. Hey, can you help me EQ my mic? I am using the Elgato Wave DX and the Stream Deck Plus XLR dock as my audio interface. I want my mic to sound warm and clear and bring out the best in my voice based off of a sample I will share with you. Ideal end sound is warm and smooth. Enter. Absolutely, I'd love to help you dial in that warm, smooth sound for your Elgato Wave DX. Please upload a short, raw voice video. So let me go ahead and find it here. Okay, here we go. I got the file, dropping it in. Clean voice, bam. Let's see what happens. All right, so we got the result, and basically it gives me a little bit of information about the, I guess, voice sample that I uploaded to ChatGPT so I can get an idea of what my voice is like. I am specific in mentioning the equipment that I'm using because it knowing what gear I'm working with is going to allow it to better EQ the mic for me. If I just say, hey, I need you to EQ my mic, but you don't tell it what mic and interface you're using or anything else, I don't think it could do that great of a job. So give me like a minute here while I actually put this in Elgato Wavelink using the Elgato EQ plugin, and you're going to see how crazy this is. This is wild. Ta-da! This is it. This is the EQ that ChatGPT made for me using the Elgato Wave DX, the Stream Deck Plus XLR dock, and a brief description of what I wanted. And I think this sounds absolutely crazy. It's insane that in just 4 bands or 4 adjustments, basically, I can get this audio out of this microphone. Absolutely insane. So what do we do? Or what did it tell me to do? Well, the first band is a low shelf at the 90 hertz area with a 2.5 decibel increase, right? With a Q level of 1. And you can see here it says it adds warmth and low end presence, which is cool. The second thing that we did is we reduced the 250 hertz area by 2 decibels. The Q value is at 1.2. And what the Q values do is as you increase or decrease them, it basically makes the peak or the dip, wider or more narrow as you adjust that value. And in this instance, the reason that we dropped it by 2 decibels is because it cuts out the muddiness of my voice. The third adjustment that we made here is at the 1200 hertz range. We increased that by 1.5 decibels. Left the Q value at 1, and what this does, it adds clarity and articulation, which I think I am a very articulate speaker, so this makes sense. And the fourth and final adjustment is we added a high shelf in the 6500 hertz area by 2 decibels, increased it, and we dropped the Q level to 0.9. And what this does is that it brightens and adds smooth air, according to ChatGPT. And I'm going to tell you, this right here is incredibly impressive. And my favorite thing here is anybody can do this. Anybody. It doesn't matter if you are an expert at this or if you're literally plugging in your very first microphone. I am thoroughly surprised and impressed with what just happened here. But I have to try one more thing. Okay, so this time around, what I went ahead and did is I had ChatGPT EQ this mic to sound like the Shure SM7B. Now, I don't have one anymore, so I can't do a direct comparison, but I think we've all heard that mic enough to kind of understand what it sounds like, or at least be able to recognize whether a microphone is the SM7B or not. And I don't expect this to be a perfect replica because that's, I think, damn near impossible considering that these are two totally different microphones. However, based off of what I'm hearing right now, and it's already been set up, by the way, to sound like the SM7B, I think it got really close. So this is what ChatGPT had me do. The first adjustment is at the 90 hertz range. We added in a low shelf and increased that by 2.5 decibels. And the Q factor, we decreased that down to 0.8. And what it supposedly does is that it adds warmth and body to my voice. The second adjustment in the 300 hertz range, we decreased that by 2 decibels. So we're at -2 dB. And we left the Q factor at 1 as it is by default. And supposedly what this does is that it tames the low mid boominess. Boomy. Every time I hear boomy, I think of Boomy from Avatar. Anyways, moving on. The third adjustment comes in at the 1200 hertz region. We increase that by 1.5 dB, left the Q factor at 1. And what that does is that it brings back clarity in the upper mids. And the final adjustment is in the 6000 hertz region. Decrease that by 1.5 dB, decrease the Q factor to 0.9. And what this does is that it softens the highs to match the SM7B's roll off. And again, I think this is a pretty freaking cool result. And ultimately, the point here is that it doesn't matter if you're a beginner when it comes to mic audio, if you've been around for a minute now doing it. It doesn't matter if you buy a cheap microphone or a super expensive microphone. The fact that we can use AI to help us nail down the sound that we want out of it, to at least set up a foundation, right? Am I saying that you're going to get perfect results from the get-go and that you should just use that? No. I mean, you might be able to. You might be happy with whatever ChatGPT produces for you in terms of an EQ recommendation, but at least it gets you started in the right direction. And I think that's pretty freaking awesome. Yes, there are a lot of awful use cases for AI out there. And yes, there are some incredibly helpful ones. Some use cases that I think you and I might even disagree on that I think are incredible. And that's okay because I'm just here to mess around and have a good time. So I hope you found this, if not helpful, at the very least interesting, because if you've been having trouble equalizing your mic, you no longer have to scour video upon video upon video on YouTube, including some of my own. You can literally record a clean sample of your voice with no processing, upload it to ChatGPT, tell it what kind of sound you want, what equipment you're using, and I'm pretty sure you're going to get some excellent results. So until next time, have a great day. Be good to yourselves, be good to one another. Peace out.